I live in Las Vegas, so you already know it's hot here. But the evenings are perfect, and sitting outside in the backyard with cool lighting is one of my favorite things to do. So I'm going to try to turn this lamp frame into a solar pool chandelier. My name is Cheryl. Welcome to my channel, and let's get started. I want to spray paint this frame, so I needed to remove all the fabric that was left over from the shade. This frame has been sitting in my garage for a few years, so the glue was pretty crusty, so it was pretty easy to remove. Any tough parts, I just used a razor blade to scrape off. I should have done this first, but I stopped and removed all the electrical wires. I sanded it to remove any leftover glue or fabric. And once it was clean, it was ready to be spray painted. And this is the spray paint I used just because I love the color. But one thing about this spray paint, it has to be painted over black. So my chain that I was going to use for the chandelier was silver, so I first had to paint it black before I could use my iridescent spray paint on it. And I'm only showing you the chain being painted because I don't know if you've ever painted chain before, but it is not easy because you're always having to turn it and make sure you got everything covered. If there's a better way to do it, let me know. I keep finding little spots that I missed, but I finally got it all painted. And here's what the lamp frame looked like painted. The iridescent paint is not showing up because I'm working under my patio cover, so it's not really in the sun. I'm going to use regular mouth mason jars. I purchased mine from Walmart. For me in my area, they're actually cheaper than purchasing them from the thrift store. And then I'm going to use these solar lids, also regular mouth size, and I got these off of Amazon. Now I needed a little help because we put the mason jars on with S-hooks, and I wanted them clamped to the lamp frame because I didn't want them sliding around. So while I was changing out the lids, Michael attached the mason jars with the S-hooks, and he used that, I don't know what it is, but it's a pretty big like plier-y thing, and he clamped down on the S-hook. Now my lamp frame was pretty big, and I probably could have put twice as many mason jars on here. But number one, I only had 12 lids, and number two, I didn't want it to be that heavy. So we figured out how we wanted them arranged, and we decided we needed one more. So we used a spaghetti jar for the very center. You'll see what I mean in a minute, but for the spaghetti jar, I used this kind of solar lighting, which I also purchased from Amazon, and I'll put links to all these things in the description box. The only other adjustment we needed to make was the wire that came with the solar lighting was a little bit long, and the lights that we hung on the first row actually made the jars rest on the lower row, so we bowed out the tops of the wire a little bit so they would just hang freely off that top tier. As you can see, I had the easier job. I just had to uncoil the solar lights, and then I just put them in the jar and I tested them to make sure they all worked, and they did. Michael also measured the chain for me to see how much we needed to hang the chandelier, and then he cut the wire. And we used these dual carabiners to attach the chain for hanging to the lamp frame. I'm not being specific with how we assembled this because any lamp frame that you use, of course, you're going to have to, it's going to be completely different. But I'm just trying to show you all the things we used because once you have the right tools to put it together, it was really pretty simple. And I finally figured out that the carabiner had to go on this section of the pole on all four corners to prevent it from sliding when it was hung. But I didn't fix that till I took it over to hang it up. Next, Michael had to put a hook in the block wall for running a cable from the block wall to the house. I had to go get him a sweatshirt to put over his arm because the man does not like spiders. And I still had one pup hanging out with us. And here's a picture of the hook that Michael put in the wall. And here's how it turned out. I have to say, I couldn't wait for it to turn dark so I could see what it looked like. I have shade sails going across my pool, so that's what that fabric is. At the top, I wish they weren't up for our final pictures, but there was no way we were taking them down. The lamp can also slide to one side, so when we want to play in the pool, it won't be in the way. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.